Okay, so let's talk about our biggest global problems. Climate change, pollution, all of it. We're constantly hearing about them. And we've got all this amazing technology, right? We have mountains and mountains of data. So why can't we seem to fix things? Well, that's what we're going to get into, because the real answer is probably hiding where no one thinks to look.
It's a really frustrating question, isn't it? We have the tools, we have the science, we have all the proof we could ever need. And yet, it feels like we're stuck. It's almost as if the real problem isn't technical at all, but something deeper, something invisible that's running the show from behind the scenes.
And boom, there it is. It turns out thinkers and scientists are starting to agree on this one thing. The root of the problem isn't in our gadgets or our policies, it's in our philosophy. It's about the fundamental story we tell ourselves about the world, and more importantly, our role in that story.
Think of it like this. We all operate on these hidden mental blueprints. They're these invisible assumptions that guide pretty much everything we do, everything we build, everything we buy. They're so deeply ingrained, we don't even realize they're there. So let's put on our detective hats and unmask these invisible culprits, starting with clue number 1.
All right, our first major suspect is a huge idea that's been driving Western thought for hundreds of years. And that's the idea that the world, that nature itself, is really just a giant, complicated machine.
So this way of thinking really took off with philosophers like René Descartes. He basically sliced reality in two. On one side, you have the thinking, conscious mind, which he argued only humans have. And on the other side, everything else. Animals, plants, rivers, mountains, all of it was just lifeless matter, just stuff. And you can see how an abstract idea like that causes very real damage. I mean, if nature is just a machine, then a forest isn't a living, breathing community. It's just lumber waiting to be harvested. A river isn't the lifeblood of an ecosystem, it's just H2O. This blueprint gives us permission to just take, and it creates this huge emotional and spiritual gap between us and the natural world.
Okay, so let's move on to our next clue. It builds directly on that first one. If we're the only ones with minds, the only ones who can think, does that also mean we're the only ones who really matter?
Well, this idea has a name. It's called anthropocentrism, and it's pretty much what it sounds like, the belief that human beings are the center of the universe, the most important entity there is. Now, this leads to a really critical split in how we see value. This worldview says that humans have intrinsic value. You have value just because you exist. But a whale, or a rainforest, or a whole species, they only have utility value. Their worth is based entirely on what they can do for us. Are they useful? Can we make money from them? And the consequences of that are huge. This thinking basically gives us a moral free pass to treat the world like a warehouse of raw materials. It lets us clear-cut ancient forests for farmland or treat our atmosphere like a sewer for carbon emissions, because in this view, the harm done to non-human life just doesn't really count on the ethical scoreboard. Which brings us to the final culprit in our philosophical lineup. This is an idea that doesn't just separate us from nature, it actually separates us from each other. We're talking about extreme individualism. This idea takes that separation to the next level. It says that the most important thing in the world is the isolated self. My wants, my success, my freedom, my property. It puts personal liberty and personal wealth above our shared responsibilities to our communities and to the planet.
Now, when you mix that powerful idea with a culture of consumerism, you get a really destructive cocktail. A society that constantly tells you that happiness comes from buying more stuff is fundamentally at war with a planet that has very real, very hard limits. It puts our own egos on a collision course with reality.
So let's just lay it all out. The old broken story tells us nature is a machine, that humans are separate from it, and that the only thing that matters is the individual. But a new story, an emerging reality that's backed by science, tells us something totally different. Nature is a living system, we are an essential part of it, and real value comes from our connections and relationships. So now that we've kind of unmasked these faulty blueprints, what do we replace them with? This is the good part. This is where we shift from looking at the problem to finding the solution.
The answer lies in what you'd call a paradigm shift, a huge change in our perspective. It means we have to move away from seeing a world of separate things and start seeing a world of deep interconnection. And this isn't some radical new idea. It's an ancient wisdom that's been at the heart of indigenous cultures for thousands of years. It's just that now it's more urgent than ever.
And get this, modern science is actually confirming this ancient wisdom. Fields like Earth system science are showing us with hard data that our planet works as one single, incredibly complex, integrated system. The climate, the oceans, the forests, and yes, human society, they aren't separate things. They're all part of one dynamic whole, constantly influencing each other.
And once you really grasp that, it sets off a kind of logical chain reaction. Step 1, the science proves we are all connected. Step 2, if we're all connected, then we have an ethical duty, a universal responsibility to each other and to the planet. And step 3, that responsibility isn't just a nice idea, it's a moral necessity for our actual survival.
So here's the shift, side by side. We need to move from that mechanistic view of Earth as a resource to a holistic view of Earth as a living system we respect. We have to go from an anthropocentric view where only humans count to an ecocentric view where all life has value. And we need to evolve from a purely individualistic mindset to a relational one where we understand our connections are what truly define us.
And this really gets to the heart of it all. All the new technology in the world, all the green policies, they're important for sure, but they're not enough. Trying to solve our problems with those alone is like trying to fix a house that was built on a cracked foundation. The real work, the deep work, is to change the philosophical blueprint itself.
It's like the philosopher Ali Faridi says, transforming our world begins with transforming our worldview. The huge changes we need to see on the outside, in our economies, in our societies, they have to start with a change on the inside. We have to think differently before we can truly act differently.
And so that brings us to a final question. And this one isn't for me, it's for you. Take a look at your own life. The things you buy, the way you think, your values. What's one invisible assumption, one hidden part of your own mental blueprint that maybe, just maybe, is worth questioning? Thanks so much for tuning in.